What's good, y'all? That was not, I repeat, that was not what we asked for, man. We waited for this all year. I mean, it really felt like all year last year was a build up to this 112, 108. The season's over, y'all. Season's absolutely over. Let's indulge the absolute ridiculousness of overreacting to preseason. Come on, man. It's over. Tank for AJ DeBonsa. Just did an interview with AJ DeBonsa's trainer. AJ is going to be great. Let's tank for AJ. Yeah, 1 point for Scottie Barnes. Grady Dick looked awful. I do think I'm right about about Elijah Martin, although I must say I do feel I'm also right about Sandro Mamukelashvili. Look, all kidding aside, this is preseason. This is a team that clearly has ambitions for playoffs. And I really don't, that this is one of those things where you're going to be overreactionary to one game, although I won't stop you if you are. All right. A lot of things went right for the Toronto Raptors tonight. A lot of things went poorly. Let's start with what went poorly. Well, I don't know if you believe in superstitions and all that stuff, but the Toronto Raptors walked into tonight 7-0 in Vancouver. Oh no, and they lose one. Sucks. They were down big. The halftime, they were awful, man. They were winning the possession battle. They had taken 51 shots, 51 field goal attempts to the Denver Nuggets 33 at halftime, and they were losing. And I think that should tell you everything, really. I mean, if we're being honest, that was everything. Am I laggy right now? Hold on, let me pull this off, pull this back up. Am I laggy? I'm good? Okay. Jeez, man. It was a tough game. Look, you're implementing a lot of new pieces, and you know what? Two of your newest pieces looked very good. Brandon Ingram looked awesome, right? Like he really did. In spurts, in pieces. He's still obviously trying to figure it out. He's trying to figure out his place. He's not trying to step on too many toes. He's, figuring out where he belongs in this offense. And when in doubt, go back to who you are. And he did a lot of Brandon Ingram stuff. RJ Barrett, a lot of talk about, extension talks, a lot of talk about how will he fit into the offense. Well, he looked really good tonight in terms of scoring the basketball. He had a lot of points. So let's take a look at the box score real quick. We'll get to the film breakdown. Shout outs to all of you. Shout outs to our new members. Shout outs to everybody. This is going to be a great season. I promise you this season will not be defined by this game. But if you want to crash out over tonight, I'm not going to stop you. If you want to call Scottie Barnes a bum, I'm not going to stop you. If you want to call in and, vent your frustrations, by all means, man. But this is preseason. Chucky Hepburn and Elijah Martin are not going to be closing games for you in the regular season. And, shout outs to that second unit, man. Shout outs to Sandro Mamukelashvili. Shout outs to Collin Murray-Boyles. Shout outs to, that unit that got the Raptors back into this and gave that Vancouver crowd a really competitive game. The Denver Nuggets, they played their starters. They played Nikola Jokic, 17, 21 minutes. He made every single shot he took. Couldn't miss, 17 points. Jamal Murray had 17 points. Christian Brown was a perfect 8 for 8, including 3 for 3 from 3. Looking like Zach LaVine, playing like Zach LaVine, except unlike Zach LaVine, he's also a really good defender. And he led all Nuggets with 19 points. The Nuggets did not have to try very hard to get open shots against this high pressure defense. Everything was overreactionary. The cleanest looks you can ever imagine. This is very reminiscent of how the Raptors started out last season with their super pressure, everything defense. And the truth is, when you pressure all over the place, sometimes you're going to force turnovers. All right. Like, when the ball ends up on the same side of the court as Scottie Barnes and Jonathan Mobile, maybe you force a turnover. When the ball ends up on the same side as Grady Dick and RJ Barrett, they get an open three. And that's just what happened tonight. All right. In terms of the Raptors, man, if you were one of those people like I was who had been, holding your breath saying, I can't wait to see the starting lineup finally play minutes. I literally, before the game, released a tweet saying, please, prayers up for preseason health. I don't want any injuries. And then we find out before the game, Jakob Poeltl is out. And, hopefully nothing serious, but you start Jonathan Mobo and immediately you're fucked. I'm sorry to swear 6 minutes into the live. Jonathan Mobo is 230 pounds. Nikola Jokic is like 290 pounds. You are screwed making that lineup. Now, because of this, the 1 point man, Scottie Barnes, ended up guarding Jokic. He face guarded him, fronted him in the post all night. It didn't matter. It didn't matter because when Jokic gets the ball, it's an immediate double and boom, it's an immediate pass. It's too much pressure. It's too much pressure without Jakob Poeltl on the court. And I think this is exposing maybe something that the Raptors need to look into, which is Jonathan Mobo is not a center. It's not a center. Okay. He may be a good player. He's one of my favorite players on this team. He is not a center. He is probably 230 pounds dripping wet. He may have broad shoulders. He is very, very slight of frame in the lower half. And it's just not someone who's going to be able to capably guard bigger centers. And you just happen to go up against Jonas Valanciunus on one end, Deron Holmes, 4 minutes in garbage time, and Nikola Jokic. That is like 40 minutes of torture for a team that is size deprived. Now, it just so happens that I think, off the bench, you got one of the best games, period, from Sandro Mamukelashvili. There's so many good things to say about Sandro's performance. We're going to look at the clips. We're going to absolutely look at some of the film breakdown of what Mamu did. But I think to those of us who have been calling for a stretch big on this team, you just got your proof in the pudding right there because Mamu with everyone just looked perfect. He got out of the way. He's super smart. He's a really good connective playmaker. And oh, by the way, he actually happens to be pretty decent defensively too. He really did a lot of good things defensively as well. Scottie Barnes, 0 for 6. I mean, we can talk about it. -10. I think he played incredible defense. I think he made some of the best passes, period, right? But you're going to say 1 point. And I'm going to say, I'm right there with you, man. The scoring looked horrible. The screening did not look great. And, I mean, you clearly have an agenda. I'm not going to crash out over this. I mean, whatever, man. Come on. Like, be for real now. Obviously, somebody has to give for this lineup to work, right? There are a lot of mouths to feed. Obviously, there's a lot of players who think they need touches. RJ wants his touches. Ingram wants his touches. You're implementing a lot of new pieces. CMB is a guy who needs the ball in his hands quite a bit to play make. Mamu likes to have the ball in his hands. There's a lot of players who need the ball in their hands. And so clearly, some people are going to be a little bit trepidatious about what should I do. Jamal Shed went through that. Emmanuel quickly went through that. And Scottie Barnes went through that a lot tonight. And those were sort of your point guards, if you will, the floor setters for your team. And you know what? Scottie's the one who didn't score, right? He's the one who got 1 point and he airballed a 3-pointer. And if you're going to focus on that, sure, cook him. Ingram looked very good. Like he was a part of that unit in the second half that actually climbed back into the game. And I think you may have found something here with Ingram plus 4 bench guys. And, last year, the year before, the Raptors have really struggled with their rotation in terms of bench units. I think you absolutely have the perfect player to floor lift your bench units, right? Now, in terms of RJ Barrett, a lot of transition stuff, a lot of open threes, some clanks, some makes. You're going to look at 3 for 6. I'm going to look at the fact that the vast majority of them were wide open. He's not being guarded, and this is a problem for the Raptors, like a major one, right? Like teams are ignoring him. They're loading up on Ingram. They're loading up on Barnes. You need somebody. You went into this game, and they had a game plan. Ignore Mobo, ignore RJ. And RJ feasted. Mobo got some really decent looks. He also had like a really nifty finish. He also missed some bunnies at the basket. But overall, teams are way too comfortable loading up on quickly drives. He's not reading out of it well. RJ Barrett held onto the ball way too long. Ingram held onto the ball way too long. Although I'm comfortable with Ingram holding onto the ball because he's a really good passer and I'm cool with it. But Ingram and Scottie are the only guys on this team that I'm cool pounding dribbles. Everybody else has got to move off of it quickly. And I don't think that happened tonight. Way too often, the ball resets too quickly and he's just dancing with the basketball. Barrett, dancing with the basketball. Sometimes you get bailed out, you get to the line. I didn't like the process of the offense, and this is going to be a work in progress. And you know what? Honestly, you need Jakob Poeltl in that starting lineup because Mobo and Jakob provide exactly the same amount of spacing. The difference is that Jakob provides that additional mega screening, massive, rim target in terms of like roller. And Yak is just this incredibly gifted connector. And Mobo may become that, but his scoring gravity is so like reduced right now that he doesn't provide anything close to that value right now for Jakob. And then also like you're taxing Scottie Barnes by having to guard Nikola Jokic. And of course, like, oh my God, I mean, maybe I should just say this right now to everybody who is just like, my God, Scottie Barnes, 1 point. I will address you at the very end of this live. If you're somebody who's watching this tomorrow, scroll to the very, very end of this live. I will address you 100%. But to right like right now, there's no way to dress up a 1 point performance for a player on a fresh max and say, yeah, that's great. The only thing you can say right now is it's preseason. It'll get better. There's no chance this is going to go roll over into the season. Uh, but Scotty's adjusting to a new role. He's going to have the ball a lot less, obviously. He's going to be more connective in this offense. And there's going to be nights. There's going to be nights where he's going to get 8, 10 shots. And he's going to have to provide a ton of value everywhere else. And I think he did that tonight. I think a lot of people are really stupid and they don't understand that. A lot of people can't see like how difficult it is to guard Murray on one possession and Jokic on the next possession. They don't see like the defensive activity. They don't see the rebounding. And they don't care about it, quite frankly. They see the buckets. They care about the buckets. And to those people, I say, basketball is a full game. I think he played incredible defense. I think he was very competitive. And yet I also agree he can't score 1 point. So it's kind of both. Raptors HQ, why can't he do both? It's a good question. Why can't you guard Jokic, guard Murray, guard Brown, play the help defender, be a great connective passer, and also score 10 points so that people like you will shut up? I think that's a fair criticism, right? Like, I agree. I agree. He should score more than 1 point. He probably shouldn't go over 6. Also, kind of okay with this being preseason and me not really caring about this kind of stuff. But overall, like, if you're I think if you're over concerned about this, you probably are just already relegated to this idea that he's not a very good player and this is not going to move you. Like if he'd come out and scored 20 points, you'd say, bah, it's preseason. And if he scores 1 point, you'll say, ah, look, zero level score. And, again, this is the same guy who, as a rookie, scored 34 points against LeBron James. He can score. He can score. Basketball is a really complicated game. Players need to move, players need to function in order for the offense to score. Obviously, he did a lot of setting up for his teammates. I want him to do more setting up for his teammates. I think he was sort of the point guard of that unit. There's a lot of oil and water with that starting lineup right now. And I think if you're somebody who walked into the season a little bit concerned that that starting lineup just doesn't make sense on paper, that's what all the analysts are saying. And right now, honestly, if we're being completely frank, it doesn't make sense to those of us who've said all offseason, trade RJ for Malik Monk, trade RJ for, a movement shooter like Cam Johnson. I think those people who've been saying that are right. Okay. So whether or not the Raptors can make this work while they shop RJ Barrett is another concern. But to those people who take this game and say, well, maybe you should trade Scottie Barnes for something, cannot help people. Cannot help people like that, man. Honestly. Let's talk about the bench, man. Chucky Hepburn had 0 points. I was very impressed with him. I was very impressed with him. Number one, he had 4 steals, which I mean, I didn't even see that before I'm commenting on it. He was awesome. Point blank, period. His pressure, we've heard about it a lot. He was awesome. Jamal Shed, mixed bag, but overall, a really huge part. And quite frankly, the best point guard on this team tonight. Him quickly, like it's really interesting how the team runs when those two guys are on. the more I watch Emmanuel quickly, the more I'm relegated to the idea that he's not a point guard and that he should probably stop trying to masquerade as one. And the sooner the Raptors realize that, the better. Collin Murray-Boyles, rookie debut, a lot of good, kind of bad. I love the fact that he took every single three. He was open. He took them with no hesitation. He went 0 for 3. Battle went 0 for 3. The Raptors shot 24% from three. I got news for you. If you shoot 24% from three and you are in a 4-point game, that means something went phenomenally right for you. And what went completely right for the Raptors is they took 30 more shots than the Denver Nuggets. That pressure defense was absolutely freaking relentless for the Raptors all night. They worked their asses off. And honestly, when you work that hard defensively, you're going to have short legs offensively. You're going to have short legs offensively. You're going to have short jumpers. And that's what happened with the Raptors. You're going to have to figure this out at some point. Jameson Battle, mainly, garbage time minutes for Olivier Sarr. Jameson Battle, AJ Lawson was the last man on with Elijah Martin. Elijah just let him fly, man. I am not impressed with Elijah Martin. Like, I'm not feeling good about that pick at all. I didn't feel good about it on draft night. I didn't feel good about it a month later. I don't feel good about it after talking to people close to him. And I really don't feel good about it right now. But honestly, like, I'm pulling for the guy. I don't like it. I feel like y'all are gonna watch Maxime Renault for the next 5 years and be like, I can't believe we fucked that up. But it's preseason. We will let it slide. Olivier Sarr is not gonna make this team. I got news for you. He's not gonna make this team. Anyone else off the bench that really, really impressed? I think Jacoby Walter. You know what? Look, man, if we've been debating this all offseason, Jacoby versus Grady, I've been firmly on the Jacoby side. Nothing I watched tonight moves me off of that. I am 100,000% on the side of Jacoby. There's something about Grady's game, and it's not just the fact that the shot didn't fall, whatever. I don't care. The 1 for 6 is irrelevant. By the way, to anybody who's going to say, oh, the 1 for 6 because he had end of quarter grenades, those don't count actually. So he was like 1 for 8, but those 2 end of quarter grenades that he took at the end of the first quarter and second quarter, they don't count towards his totals. He's just, it's not okay. I want to be honest with you. It's not about the 1 for 6. I don't care about the 1 for 6. It's two very important things with Grady that absolutely need to be addressed. Number one, the game has not slowed down for him in 3 years, and I'm concerned about that. He picked up back-to-back charges on like within 3 plays, he charged and charged. That was clear read, clear sidestep. You're a shooter. Why are you driving into? And it's not like there was some great defender drawing the charge. Like it wasn't like the defender slid into place. The defender was just standing right there and he just ran over him. I don't like those plays for him. And defensively, he was awful. Like he was just bad. Like the pressure, what they're asking him to do, he can't do it. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, he literally cannot do it. I don't know what you're supposed to do with this guy at this point. And I'm not even overreacting. This is not preseason. I've literally been fearing this all season, last year and the year before. If you want to play this way, he can't play that way. You're going to have to address the very loud elephant in the room, which is that he doesn't have the lateral quickness, strength, or instincts to play defense that way. Mobo might, CMB does, Scottie does, he does not. And Jacoby was okay tonight. I think he could have definitely a better game. It's not like he was gangbusters or anything. He just didn't bleed points. You know what I mean? Like Grady got the second most minutes off the bench. Now, speaking of the guy who got the most minutes off the bench, my favorite player of the night, Sandro Mamukelashvili, he was pretty much like, like you look at Sandro and you're just like, you deserve better. I'm not even lying. You deserve better than this team. You didn't deserve to be on the Raptors tonight. Like, if life was fair, right? If life was fair at halftime, God would come down from heaven and swap Jonas Valanciunas onto the Raptors and put Sandro Mamukelashvili on the title contender Nuggets and just say, now life is fair. Okay? Because Sandro Mamukelashvili played about as perfect a game as you can imagine. Like he was awesome. I was so excited when we signed him, and this is preseason and all that stuff. But his value is apparent, obvious, and completely undeniable. his shooting, driving, defense. There were so many plays. So look, there's a lot to take away from this game. In terms of the Nuggets, I mean, I can't say anymore. Let's take a look quickly at the team stats, and then we'll break down the game. We'll look at some plays. We'll look at some good moments, mainly good moments. There's no bad moments to look at. I'm not looking at bad moments right now. Maybe I'll dig it up tomorrow and dissect some of the bad moments. I don't really want to think about too many bad moments right now. But in terms of the game overall, the Raptors shoot 15% worse from the field. They shoot 14% worse from three. They give up 57%. They were giving up north of 65% before the garbage unit came in and just couldn't buy a shot. They get out rebounded. They do crush the offensive glass. They get destroyed on the defensive glass. Well, obviously, they get destroyed on the defensive glass. The other team simply didn't miss. And, they do their whole shtick. They win the steals battle. They win the assist battle. But they don't register a single block. They turned the Nuggets over 31 times, which is actually pretty impressive. If you're being honest, that's pretty impressive. They don't I don't think they convert enough off of that. They get 25 fast break points. 58 points in the paint is freaking ridiculous for a team that didn't have Jakob Poeltl. This team just wanted to drive relentlessly because they couldn't make a jump shot. They need to trust their jump shot. The largest lead was 3. The Nuggets led by 16 points. It was really bad in the middle of the third quarter before the Raptors stormed that comeback, and it was largely on the back of the bench unit. Scottie Barnes had nothing to do with that comeback. Emmanuel Quickley had nothing to do with the comeback. Now let's look at some plays from this game. Okay. JJ1. Yeah, you better believe I do. Okay. All right, let's take a look. Okay. So, Ingram and RJ. Let's take a look at this. I'll make myself small for this. Hang on one second. Nope, that's not going to work. Is that going to work? Yeah, it's going to work. Okay, Ingram and RJ. So, on this play, perfect motion offense. Ingram, 3, Cam Johnson a little bit late. Want him taking that shot. And then we speed this up. And here, look at Scottie Barnes. This total bum, apparently, creating that turnover right there. And here comes RJ Barrett in transition. And boom, right to the basket. Perfect. Many, many times the Raptors were able to convert offense into defense, and it's largely due to that. Now, this is a ridiculous play by Brandon Ingram, and I don't think I'm reaching if I say that this is probably the first time you've had a player that can do something like this since Kawhi Leonard. Okay, because as smooth as Pascal Siakam was as a scorer, he not doing this very often. Let's just be real. Okay, great play by Brandon Ingram. So talented, so insanely talented. Okay, now. Sandro Mamukelashvili comes into the game. The Raptors are already down 11. That starting unit really dug them a hole. Here, perfect pass from Jamal Shed. And when I say Jamal Shed was the best point guard on this team, it's largely because of plays like that. He just simply gets out of the way. He's very good at it. Now here, you see Grady trying to pressure a little bit, gets the offensive player to turn. But here, clear blow by. Just complete blow by. And that is a 500-year-old Bruce Brown. No, I'm just kidding. Bruce Brown's 29, but whatever, man. You can't be getting beat by Bruce Brown. He's not even a good jump shooter. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Now here, Zach LaVine lookalike is going to score here. And once again, here's Jamal Shed. Get it to the hot hand, man. This is not complicated. And then boom. Those 2 points, those 6 points were, I want to say, like 12 seconds apart. Also, I apologize very, very much. If you see at the top of your screen, you'll see Scottie Barnes. Prior to the game, there was a quote that was released by Bruce Brown talking about how at various stops, he just didn't get the ball. And he's really excited to be in Denver because now he has the ball. Well, this is what happens when you give Bruce Brown the ball. This is Emmanuel Quickley, who is nobody's definition of a lockdown defender. And this is Bruce Brown finding out why he didn't have the basketball. Like, come on, man. Also, like, there's Scottie Barnes at the top right. I apologize. I cut this clip short, but Scottie literally came into this play and clapped in Brown's face. and the two had quite a few words, which is interesting because Brown was very complimentary of Scottie coming into the season. When he got traded, he was just like, "Yeah, Scottie's a franchise player," blah 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 blah. But I think maybe Scottie has caught wind of wanted to go to Denver, didn't have the ball, and he's just like, "All right, man, shut your fucking mouth." All right, here, Jonathan Mobo dribbling the ball up the floor, a center who can dribble the ball up the floor. That's pretty great. And here he is just going to take this full court, take the bump, and this is perfect, man. Just perfect. This is the type of play that he easily like drops last year. So a little bit of bag work for Jonathan Mobo. And speaking of Jonathan Mobo, here's a little bit of Jonathan Mobo and Scottie Barnes wrecking havoc defensively. Here's Scottie at the guarding up here on Jonas Valanciunas. Guarding Jonas Valanciunas and guarding Nikola Jokic, man, shout outs to Scottie Barnes. Scottie, 5'6", Barnes. Okay. Here, guarding Jonas, hand up, majorly undersized, fighting, like just to give his team a chance to win here. And then Mobo, Scottie, communicate this. Mobo, Scottie, once again, they're gonna rip this apart. So Scottie is sealing off Jonas here. Mobo is gonna get boom, piece of the ball. Perfect defense, man. And then off to the races, Grady with the perfect pitch ahead here to Ochai Agbaji for the dunk. So this is, again, example number, what feels like 20 of the Raptors turning defense into offense. And frankly, outside of transition offense, they were awful. They couldn't buy a bucket. Their half-court offense was abysmal. And their defense, quite frankly, was nothing close to top 10 tonight. It did not look good. Okay. Here, once again, Scottie and Mobo once again pestering that ball handler. Here's Scottie. Defender lets it go. That was Peyton Watson, I believe. And here comes Jonathan Mobo and slow-mo. And here's RJ Barrett. Throws it up. Beautiful play. And Jonathan Mobo gets the dunk. To the crash outs in the comments, would you have felt better if Scottie Barnes had gotten that dunk instead so that he could have 3 points instead of 1 point? Would you feel better? Would you go to sleep at night a little bit less angry? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, dumb. Yeah, dumb. You know what I mean? You're pretty dumb. Like, let's just be real about it. Okay. All right. Great pass by Scottie. Love this pass. Draws, here. This is why you press in transition. You take the second defender, you see the slash, and it's perfect. The game has really, like I was talking, like the game has not slowed down for Grady. The game has really slowed down for Scottie. He is like chess mastering this shit out there. Obviously, I wish he could score a little bit more, but that was just a beautiful pass. Perfect, on time, on target. Here we go. And speaking of great connective passing, here's Sandro Mamukelashvili once again from Jamal Shed. Jamal Shed, not a player who has a lot of gravity as a shooter here, right? But Mamu does. And here he's going to have Cam Johnson closing out, running him off the line. And what do you know? There's a 2-on-1. Once you beat your man here, it's Jokic versus Mamu plus CMB. So now, what do you do here? Right? If you are Mamu, if Brandon Ingram does not cut here through the defense, you're probably going to be forcing a contested mid-range or possibly trying to throw a lob up to Collin Murray-Boyles. This is not good because this is the consequence of having a non-shooting point guard. Just for anybody out there who's a little bit not concerned about Jamal Shed not being a good jump shooter, this is why. Look how far into that passing lane Christian Braun is able to sit. But intelligent move by Brandon Ingram here, cutting right through, knowing Jokic is not really going to react to him, and Jamal Murray is not a good, shot blocker. So here, you just don't have anybody who can stop him there. Perfect. Okay. This is the halftime score, just for anybody who was curious. The Raptors took 51 shots at halftime. The Nuggets had 33. The Raptors shot 43%. The Nuggets shot 70%. 70%. Jesus Christ. On the road. In preseason. It's ridiculous, man. Okay. Probably the play of the game for Collin Murray-Boyles. Like, this is his play of the game. Shows a little bit. He'd shown a willingness to take some threes. Jonas Valanciunus is one of the slowest footed centers in the league. Honestly, Raptor fans should know this. He was pretty bad 5, 6 years ago. He's really, 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 really bad tonight. Like, he's in terms of guarding in space, he might be singular as one of the three worst centers in the league at guarding in space. So Collin Murray-Boyles has read the scouting report on Jonas Valanciunas. Jonas Valanciunas has clearly not read the scouting report on Collin Murray-Boyles because he places horribly. And here comes CMB, one dribble, and boom to the basket. Not complicated. Not complicated at all. Left hand finish there. Nice. Okay. Moving on. I call this Mamu magic. I don't know why. I'm a very big fan of Sandro Mamukelashvili, man. I think he just played so well here, taking that pressure and just reading, just super smart player, man. Like, there's really nothing bad that you can say about Sandro Mamukelashvili. If you have an issue with Sandro Mamukelashvili's game tonight, you're psychotic. So here, Esfandio Rahani posted this, and I wanted to break this down. So he said, I understand slipping to get middle, but you got to be willing to actually lay out someone you're strong. Okay, so this is the criticism of Scottie here. So let's just take a look here at this play, and let's see what S is talking about. So here, Scottie has an option to maybe set a screen here. This results in nothing for the Raptors. Ingram is going to get a tough catch here. Scottie is just coming up. Make contact. You have to make contact. He doesn't make contact. Ingram doesn't get an advantage. And now you're trying to roll, and the defender is not really off balance, and they're able to recover. So now Ingram has this very tight window to create this pass. Whereas if we go back, if Scottie is able to make contact with all 250 pounds of him, then the separation between the two defenders increases, at which point Watson and, I mean, really, Ingram's being double teamed here. Scottie has to do something more. And here, obviously, Scottie has gravity as a scorer, which is why Cameron Johnson is not going to persist on double teaming Ingram. But here, the recovery is too little. Now, obviously, if Ingram was Jokic, he could swing this around Peyton Watson. But Scottie has to make life easier on Ingram. And here, Scottie does nothing. He doesn't make life easier on Ingram. Ingram is forced into a really tough shot. And here, you can see that the second defender is able to recover onto Ingram and provide like that extra pressure precisely because they don't care about Scottie getting the shot. So if we break this down, this offensive possession is like a pretty good microcosm of the entire Raptors offensive problem. And here, this is a completely batshit crazy backwards possession because it is Ingram who should be getting the ball with 6 seconds on the clock to create something out of nothing. And now Ingram is going to come up here and try to set a screen. And guess who also doesn't set a fucking screen? It's these two were comically like oil and water tonight. They just didn't have a great deal. And if you're somebody who believes that Scottie Barnes can make this shot consistently, yeah, there's a pathway to superstardom. If he can't make the shot consistently, there isn't. And if we're being honest with ourselves, like if you just take your hater goggles off and you just, like put on the sensible part of your brain here for a second, this is a wide open shot. You should make this shot. Offenses are designed to get your stars wide open shots. Star players are able to get themselves wide open shots. Scottie Barnes got a wide open shot. He just fucking bricked it. So you're gonna call this like terrible offense. Look at that short jumper. That's legs. That's just legs. 100%. Talk to any trainer. Talk to fucking any player in the world. Short. He airballed the fucking three. He's dog tired. I don't care what you want to say about it, whatever. I'm not trying to be overly defensive. I really don't care. I've chosen this year. I'm not going to invest myself in the opinions of people whose opinions I don't respect. There's an old saying that said, don't seek constructive feedback. Don't seek constructive feedback from people who haven't constructed shit. I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to haters about Scottie. That being said, if you want to dissect the process of the offense, this offense sucked. Like, this was shitty process because that shot that Scottie took has literally always been available for him. There's no point at which that shot will not be available for him. He can get that shot anytime he wants. This is physics, and the defense can't really do anything about it. So, like, uh, SP saying check the beginning of the play. Okay, let's check. Check. Mobo. Sorry, you're saying check the beginning for a Mobo lob? Well, we can certainly check that. Okay. I mean, this right here is just two players who don't know how to play together. Like this right here. Like, Scottie needs to be able to demand a post up on Christian Brown. That's not a good matchup for the Denver Nuggets. I don't think Brown is a good matchup. Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson are the only players on the Nuggets who can guard Scottie Barnes. Now, Cameron Johnson is a pretty decent matchup for Brandon Ingram. Like, this is Ingram is not the most elite burst guy himself. Cam Johnson's a very good defender. He's about 6'8", and having no help from Scottie here, no spacing from Scottie here, these two just don't work if they're going to play this way, right? Like, if Scottie is spacing for Ingram in the mid range, and this is why I said, at the beginning of the year, I said, when this trade happened, Ingram is going to have to play off of Scottie, or it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. You cannot hand the basketball to Brandon Ingram and say, okay, man, like, you go cook Scottie Barnes, go set screens for him. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. I don't think it's going to work. Okay. So they'll have all preseason to figure it out. Maybe it's a pretty good thing that you take this. If you take this loss right now, because losses are good way to get your players' attention, man. If I'm being honest, like, losses are a good way to get your players' attention. We have a super chat here. Let me just read it out. Baba G Cuts. I was at the game. It was fun. Jokic ain't 6'10". I don't know what this means. Does this mean Jokic is 7 feet? Does this mean Jokic is? I personally, I mean, I know people who know Nikola Jokic, and he's definitely like closer to 6'10", 6'11". He's not 7 feet tall. Like, I've seen him stand next to people who's 7 feet. He's not 7 feet tall. I've seen him standing next to one of my friends who is 7 feet tall, and he was clearly taller than him. Yeah, so I mean, look, this is preseason. 100%. This is preseason. And I think there's a lot of people who have some nerves about this season that are going to feel like, okay, how is this supposed to work? You have a lot of talent. You do have a lot of talent. And I think you have to harness that talent in a meaningful way. The RJBI Scottie, there's a reason why we have heard rumor after rumor about the Raptors looking for a trade. There's already internal rumblings that this, unit doesn't work. Why does it not work? There isn't enough space. You can't just put 5 players who know how to play basketball together. You just can't. It's just not how it works. Booker, Beal, Durant. That's more talent than you have between these three, right? Way more talent. Way more talent. Where's the center? Where's the table setting point guard? Basketball synergy is about much more than just accumulating random talent. Okay. So there's probably a player on the bench between Ochai, Jacoby, who fits better with that starting 5 than RJ Barrett. You're not moving Brandon Ingram and Scottie Barnes to the bench because they make entirely too much money. You're not moving Emmanuel quickly to the bench, nor should you, because he is very valuable. Although he didn't play very well today, I do like some of what he was doing in terms of his pressure defense. He does look a lot stronger. I think he needs to find his rhythm too. But again, I think Scottie is most optimally a point guard for that unit. This offense will not work if you ask him to space out for others. You have to work with him operating. Now, right now in preseason, maybe he wants to let Ingram and RJ kind of operate. But the problem is their operation is a little bit shortcut by his inability to space. And That's just honest. That's just God's honest truth. There's many times last year where we saw Goggle Scotty run the point guard position, and it looked very good. If you give Scotty the ball, run pick and roll, it looked a lot better last year with Ingram, with RJ, with IQ. It should work. But for whatever reason, Darko does not believe that putting the ball in Scotty's hands is going to generate results. And so, you end up with this like kind of hodgepodge situation. I think Scotty needs to have the basketball in his hands. I really do. I don't think you know, the way I would construct this offense if I was, running things is I would put the ball in Scotty's hands for the first 18 seconds of the possession. I would say, you and Ingram split possessions. 18 seconds are yours. The final 6 seconds are his. If it ends up in a tight clock situation where we need a really, really tough midi pull around, turnaround or fade, give it to Ingram to bail us out, kind of like what we did with Gary Trent Jr., Pascal Siakam, etc. But in the first 12 to 14, 15 seconds of the offense, I want Scotty making decisions. He is, in my opinion, the best decision maker on this team. I think he is fully capable of getting his own shot whenever the hell he wants. And I think he's just the smartest player on your team. I think he's the best passer on your team. And making him Draymond in this offense is not going to work. It's just not going to work. You don't have Steph, you don't have Clay, you don't have Durant. Have you seen Draymond without Steph? They end up in the lottery every year. So I think Darko's going to have to figure this out at some point. I think the Raptors are going to have to figure this out. In terms of Scottie Barnes, a couple points, obviously. Number one, there is the optics of 1 point. You just can't have 1 point, man. I have to be on the panel tomorrow, and I cannot even imagine how relentless I'm going to get trolled for 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. I might have to get drunk at 8 a.m. in the morning just to withstand the relentless trolling I'm going to have because, people were shitting all over DeAndre Ayton for having 1 point. This is Scottie Barnes, $40 million guy, 1 point. It looks bad. It doesn't matter, but it looks bad. I think we can all agree it looks bad. It may not be bad. We certainly don't think it looks good, but it doesn't stop the Ben Simmons, Michael Carter Williams stuff. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, winning is winning, and Scotty did a lot of good things for his team to win. Now, I will leave you off with something which I think is valuable because it is 1:40 in the morning, and we are talking about a loss. Okay, if we had won this game and this game had happened at 8 o'clock, I bet you anything there were 700 people in here getting very excited. If Scottie Barnes hadn't scored 1 point tonight, I'll guarantee you there's another 100 people in here. I think a lot of people went to bed tonight kind of depressed or sad because they looked forward to this game, and this just didn't look right. It didn't feel right. To you, I would say be patient. Yesterday, I was researching something which was really amazing. It's called non-narrative thinking. And this is my final thought for you. And it ties very much to basketball. We have a way of thinking about things, which is to say we're meaning generation machines, right? You have a $40 million player, therefore he must play like other $40 million players. You have a franchise player, he must play like there's sort of a coded understanding of the past will resemble the present, will resemble the future. So I'll give you a really good example, right? So the example is you go to the gym, right? You talk to a girl, you get along great. And she'd been coming all week, and you mustered up the courage to go and talk to her. And let's say after 3-4 days, you notice she's not coming to the gym anymore. So you talk to her and you had this great rapport, but she's not coming to the gym at the same time anymore. There is a very normal human tendency to assume maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I did something wrong and that's why she's not coming. The truth is, it may not have anything to do with you. In fact, it probably has nothing to do with you. You may not know it, but she pulled her hamstring. She's not coming to the gym for 2 weeks. There's so many things that we draw connections between that aren't really connected. And Scottie Barnes off-season work, Scottie Barnes progression, Scottie Barnes, what season will be ahead, the Raptors season ahead is not going to be defined by this preseason game. Although it is basketball and the Raptors did lose and you are worried. And so you're probably going to draw conclusions from this game needlessly. And you're going to cause yourself a lot of undue headache and probably overreact a lot. And it doesn't mean anything. I guarantee you, Scottie Barnes is not going to average 1 point per game for the season. I will guarantee you he's not going to average 15 points per game for the season. I'll guarantee you he's going to be an all-star this season. I think he's going to be perfectly fine. But again, when you go 0 for 6 and your team loses and you're a max player and it's preseason, it doesn't matter because you're also a player who has a reputation for not scoring. We remember this, right? We remember year 2. We remember like 0 for 4 against Charlotte. We remember these things. And so there is a familiar pain here with the Scottie stuff. The Ingram stuff, you know, every time Ingram went down tonight, man, every time Ingram and Scottie went down tonight, I was like holding my breath. I'm like, oh, please, 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 please. You know, like, please don't get injured. All I want from preseason, all I want from preseason is slow progression for this team in terms of cohesion. And I want better connectivity between my, 3 highest paid players, which is Emmanuel Quickly, Scottie Barnes, and Brandon Ingram. And I want health. That's all I want. I don't care about the results. I don't care about wins and losses. They are totally irrelevant. When you start the season out, you just want to be in a good place. That's all. Starting the season out 8-14 is not going to be the end of your season. You have a really tough schedule to start. The Raptors are probably practicing harder than just about any team in the league, from what we've heard. They're probably really tired. So there's a lot that goes into these in-game performances. And obviously during the season, you're not going to have a 10 a.m. practice the day of, right? You're not going to have that. There's a lot that's going to go into it. I think that the Raptors trading for Brandon Ingram, playing Mamu, all these things, I think these are all indications the Raptors intend to win basketball games this year. And I trust them to win basketball games this year. I think I'll trust them, even if I agree that the talent is not perfect, it's not perfectly synchronized. There's certain pieces I wish maybe would swap out. I don't think I'm ready to sell on the main pieces, which is to say, I still believe in Quickly. I still believe in Ingram. I still believe in Scottie. And I believe in at least 1 to 2 players on the bench stepping up and finding a way. And I definitely believe in Sandro Mamukelashvili. So there's a lot of, people like this where you can't really do anything about these people. They are going to be themselves. That's what they do. They live to react. To you, I would say, don't react. So this is my final point to you. Sorry to drag this out a little bit long. Back to the gym, analogy. It doesn't have anything to do with you. We have familiar patterns in our lives that for whatever reason we've connected and we think that they're meaningful. It's story, right? It's a story you tell yourself. You tell yourself, my parents were poor, so that's why I'm poor. Your parents being poor and you being poor have really nothing to do with each other, but in a sense, you connecting those two things makes them meaningful. So, the Raptors are the same thing. Your life is the same thing. What I would say is instead of trying to go to the default connection that your brain automatically veers towards, which may not be necessarily optimal, try to view yourself more like an anthropologist. View yourself right now in this moment. Are you one of those people that's overreacting to this? Do you have a tendency to overreact? Or are you a rational person in your day to day life? Maybe that's meaningful to you. There's like a way of looking at things, I think. I think there's a way of looking at things like an anthropologist that will make your life infinitely better. And since you're probably not super happy that the Raptors lost tonight, this is the best thing I can do for you right now is I can try to make your life 5% better because this advice changed my life. So view your life like an anthropologist. Study your behavior like an anthropologist. Don't judge your behavior. Study your behavior. Look at it like every single time I do this, I feel good. When I talk to this person, I don't feel good. Don't do that thing, which is I talk to this person, they made me mad, so they're a bad person. Just observe. Observe. Don't judge, right? When I watch this content creator, I suddenly feel very inspired. It's a little bit like that. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I'm tired, so I don't want to go to the gym, right? That's a really common thing that people do. I'm tired, so I don't want to go to the gym. what does one thing have to do with the other? What if I'm tired, so I'm going to the gym made more sense? Do you see what I mean? These connections between things are what ruin our lives because we think that these connections are necessary and they're not. So today, I woke up and I was a little bit groggy and I thought, I don't really want to work on this video. The trainer video, I was like, I'm tired, so I don't want to work on this video. And I said, maybe because I'm tired, I need to work on this video. I just flipped it. Before the game, I went to the gym. I had been to the gym 4 straight days. When I was at the gym, I hate leg day, man. I don't know what it is, but I just don't like doing legs. And so I'll go on the treadmill, I'll lift weights, I'll do the upper body shit, but I hate doing leg day. And I was just like, you know what? I feel, tired. My legs feel loose after the treadmill. I don't want to do legs. And I'm like, you don't want to do legs. I'm just going to do legs. So what I would say is if you want to improve your life, just ignore your impulses. Ignore your impulses, right? Like view your life like an anthropologist. I've been doing this for the last week. It's shit's been life changing, man. It's been so peaceful. It's been so um yeah, it's been so peaceful. It's been transformative. It's been life changing for me completely. And all I would say to you is if your impulse right now is to overreact, sit with it. Sit with it for a couple of days. The Raptors play in 2 days. They'll play the Kings. They'll whoop their ass. And then maybe you'll feel better about it. At which point, you'll look back on these 2 days that you spent worrying, firing up the trade machine, trying to trade Scottie Barnes for future second round picks. Maybe Scottie Barnes comes out next game and he has 15 points, 20 points in like 20 minutes, and then you feel better. Maybe he comes out and shoots 40% from three for the first 2 months of the season, then you feel better. You don't know where the season is going any more than I do. But what we can say is this wasn't the greatest start, and let's hope for better in the next game. I will see you guys on the next game. There are no callers tonight. I don't know. No callers tonight. Joe saying this is why the internet is so toxic right now. Yeah, it is. But you know what? You don't have to participate in it. And I was having I had that conversation with John, and I felt so happy after the conversation. I can't tell you why. Like I felt happy. There's not like one thing that I can say. That conversation. Give me a W in the chat if you ended up watching that interview that I did with John McCall. And I watched that video back, and somebody sent me a little message and they said, "You seem happy." Like I'm not an easy person to read, but they said, "You seem happy." Why, And I thought to myself, like, why was I so happy during that conversation? And I was like, what a brilliant place to be, man. Like, we may not agree on everything, but we're approaching things from intellectual curiosity. We're approaching arguments from good faith, right? And it's just a really great place to try and approach debate from, right? You're often going to be online having debates with people about whether or not RJ Barrett is a G leaguer or whether or not Scottie Barnes is autistic, or you're going to have all these stupid conversations with people about Brandon Ingram being worse than not. And it's like so many people waste so much time. I've wasted so much time in my life. These weeks don't come back, yo. 4,000 weeks in your life. That's what you got. 4,000 weeks. So spend them wisely. And if you can, try to use basketball to better your mind, better your life in some way, and take losses like this and do what Darko and the Raptors have to do. Chalk it up to development, flush it down the toilet, man. Uh, Chris Weberstan saying, I'm Penn's worst nightmare. You hold on. Let me find. No, you're not worth it. I was gonna find the YouTube clip of Kawhi Leonard laughing and saying, I don't know where you're sitting at. That's how I feel about you. I don't know who you are, nor do I care. We will never meet in real life. So yeah. Anyways, no, I don't know who you are, nor do I care. uh the slogan would be fade away for AJ. You need Jesus. That is a really good note to end this live on, man. Oh Lord. Okay. You ranted about me on Player's Choice. Sorry, man. I rant about a lot of people on Player's Choice. Don't know who you are. Don't care. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Enjoy. And if you do want to say a prayer for me on Player's Choice because I got to go tomorrow with possibly Swiper on as Scottie Barnes dropped 1 point. I'm going to try not to lose my mind. I'm going to have to like Zen Buddhism the shit out of my appearance. Just be like, yep, Scotty's a bum. Scotty's a bum. Let's just let it go. Whatever, man. Whew. Yeah. Rich saying, Pan, I need a Scotty leap like Airman. So here's the thing. I think he's going to take that leap. I remain completely convinced 1000% that he's going to take that leap. I think he needs the ball a little bit more. I think he needs to figure out his place on this team. But he didn't just go on a fucking live stream and say, I want to win MVP, I want to win MIP, I want to win DPOY, whatever. I think it was important for him to sort of establish the identity defensively. Guarding Jokic and Valanciunus as a 6'7", 6'8" guard wing is not easy. So, he did. Scotty, role player. Your basketball IQ is showing. Cool. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great one and enjoy your night. And try not to lose too much sleep over this. This is not that relevant. This is not that important. It's preseason. We got a long way to go. We got 82 games. We got like 4 or 5 more games in the preseason. It's fine. Implementing a new piece like Brandon Ingram, implementing Collin Murray-Boyles is going to be hard, man. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some adjustment. You don't have the spacing. You pray better performances next game from Jacoby, Grady, Emmanuel Quickly. If those guys are not making shots, it's going to be really, really bad. You said racist things about Jordan. Well, you know what? If your goal, I can show you. How about this? If you show me, I will PayPal you $500 right now. Show me. Go ahead. Actually, you know what? I'll do you one better. I will PayPal you $1,000. Go ahead. Right now. But you got to do it right now. Colin link right there. Go ahead. I said racist things. Go ahead. No racist things ever said in my life. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm not crashing out. Come on. Let's go. Apparently I'm racist because I don't like white people. Apparently I'm also racist because I don't like black people. Come on. Go ahead. Where are you? Where you at, bro? Let's go. We ain't got all day, bro. Bet I'm gonna send a super chat on the panel tomorrow. Nope. You ain't getting a whole day to do this. Show me right now. You're saying I said something. I need you to provide proof. So what I'm gonna do is there's a call-in link. You can call in. You can call in. You can be backstage. You can send me a link in the DMs. You can do whatever you want. This is your show, bro. Chris Webber Stan, whoever the hell you think you are. You think you're going to come on to our channel and tell me I'm that? Go ahead. Go ahead. You know that thing that Swipe always does? Shaking. Anytime. You said Ox was a DEI hire. That's not true. I said I was a DEI hire. You got listening problems. I said I was a DEI hire, and I made jokes about it. You know why I said I was a DEI hire, dumbass? Because it's an all-black platform, and I'm the only white regular panelist. That's why I said I was a DEI hire. It was a joke. I never called Ox a DEI hire. Called Ox a lot of things. Never called him a DEI hire. Was that the racist thing? Allegedly? Is that? You got less than 1 minute, and I promise you I'm clipping like the last 3 minutes of this live. I just want to go ahead. Gifted was a dummy. I definitely said that. It's not racist to call someone a dummy. In fact, you might say it would have been racist to not call him a dummy on the basis that he's black. That was racist. calling gifted dumb is not racist. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm sorry. You gotta be fucking kidding me. You know what's interesting though, Chris Webber Stan? You are actually a racist. You have said 100 racist things in the chat. I have called you out for it many times. I actually went out of my way to say that you were one of the most disgusting human beings on the planet. You have made racist comments towards black panelists. You have made racist comments towards me. And now you're coming here and accusing me of being racist. You ain't getting the reaction you wanted. What you're getting is deep fried. All right. Okay. Ridiculous indeed. You pander to Section 8 people. What is Section 8? Sorry, I don't know what Section 8 is. You're on the Oh, I see. So now the racism is off. Okay, now you get banned for calling them a derogatory name. You get banned because I just reminded you who you were, right? I just reminded you that you were the racist, and it was like almost like your head just snapped off. You're like, oh wait, oh right, I'm the racist, and then you immediately went to racist slurs. You're a dumbass. All right. So you know what? Here's the thing, and this is amazing. I am very happy about how I handled that. Because one, I don't think I raised my voice at all. Number two, I offered you $1,000 to offer proof, and you said that my proof was that, oh geez, there's a caller. Baba G Cuts. Oh man. Are you a troll? Yo, what's up?
Hello?
Yo, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yup. What's up? Why are you muted? You have yourself muted. I'm going to have to remove you if you don't unmute yourself. Hello? Okay. We tried. Ain't ducking shit. Yeah. Anyway, I will say this. Since I've been doing a lot of work, and this is very important, I used to get tilted a lot online. I think most people here can say I've been tilted a lot when someone would come in and say I'm this and that or whatever. And if you're a white content creator or European content creator in this space, you better believe that you're going to get called racist at some point or another. You could literally say like water is wet. So what I've found, and this might be helpful for people, is that when you get really, really firm with yourself, when you get very, very firm with who you are, the comments don't shake you as much. The other day on playback, I thanked Ox because I was very upset for 2 straight days about what he said about Nafisa Collier. And I thanked him. And he was like, "What are you thanking me for?" And I said, "Because you exposed a hole. You exposed a weakness. When people make you upset, you should be very thankful to them because what they're doing is they're showing you where your hurt is. They're showing you where your insecurity is. You can't hurt me with this comment. You can't. You absolutely can't. You can't hurt me with, Pan, I knew you and blah, 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 and you did this. You can't hurt me with that. You can't hurt me with that. Right. So now I got to go find the comments that hurt me. I got to figure out what hurts me. And then I got to write down my pen. I got to take the pen. I got to take the notepad. And I got to write down what bothered me. And then I got to figure out what the thing that bothered me is associated to deep inside me. Because the truth is, if you're Chinese and someone calls you African, it doesn't bother you. If you are 6'8", being called short doesn't bother you. If you're 5'5" and someone calls you too tall, it doesn't bother you. The truth is, things that bother us expose holes. They expose traumas, and we should pay attention to them very much. If anything, Penn's racist towards white European players. I'm definitely not racist towards white European players. White European players. No, man, I liked Andrea Bargnani. I like Darko Milicic. No. If anything, if you could say I have a racial bias, it's towards the Christian Browns of the world and the Caitlin Clarks of the world, like middle America white people. That could be like my one thing that I got to work on, which is like maybe because I lived in Nashville when I was younger, I had some kind of not so nice experiences as an Eastern European immigrant. So maybe there's a little bit of that. The Grady's of the world, right? Wichita, Kansas. That's a perfect thing. Exactly. I mean, tends to be that we tend to associate people with experiences that we've had. So if the last 4 Serbian people that you met punched you in the face, you're probably not going to like me. That's just the truth, right? And I have nothing to do with it. Okay. Dope Lemon 77. When you're obsessed with identity, you've been programmed. I don't know if I agree with that, but I get where you're coming. I get where you're coming from. Reed Vega saying IQ isn't good, Grady isn't good, Jacoby isn't good. This right here is the pinnacle of basketball analysis. It's just really, chef's kiss. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.